Hello and welcome to the Global Sports Channel. I'm your host, Mark Philpott, and it's great to be with you all again. If you are a regular viewer or listener to the show, welcome back. It's great to have you here with us. And don't forget to send us all your comments about the shows that we do and the content we post. We love engaging with our audience across the world, now in over 103 different countries. If it's your first time with us, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on all of our social media platforms. Global Sports Channel on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. We'd love to hear from you and hear your thoughts about the different people that we interview on the show and the things that they've got to share with us. Now, on the show, I interview guests from all across the world about the world of sport, and we talk to people about all sorts of different and interesting things. For instance, today, we've got a young phenom in the world of sports related to karate. In fact, yes, we're going to be talking a lot about karate. She's based in the United States of America, and we're going to be finding out about her incredible journey, not only as a karate sports person, but also all the amazing things that she's doing away from her sport to help others during these difficult times around the world. So let's get on now and meet our guest for today and find out what she's up to. So it's a very warm welcome to the Global Sports Channel today to Sarah. How are you today, Sarah?
I'm good, Mr. Mark. How are you?
I'm fantastic. It's a little bit cold in my part of the world because we're having winter at the moment, and I think it's about 2 degrees outside at the moment, so you must be a lot warmer than that over there.
Yeah, here in New York, it's really warm. I think 90 degrees.
Oh, wow. So New York's also very famous for its humidity, so is it very humid today?
It's pretty humid today, yeah.
Have you been living in New York long?
I was born and raised in New York.
Oh, it's such a fantastic city, isn't it?
Yeah, it's amazing. I love New York.
It's one of my favorite places in the world, and I've been fortunate enough to be there many times. And every time I go back, there's always something new and exciting about the place. What do you love? What do you love the most about New York?
Well, New York it's just like a really friendly environment. I don't know if that's the right word to say, but it's very different than other places. I love the city. We live in like a suburban rural area, and which is weird because I hate bugs. So, like I love the city a lot. The museums and just traveling around the city and.
Why do you dislike bugs so much?
They're just scary because they can bite you and they fly around.
Have you ever been to Australia yet?
No, I hope I could go to Australia one day, but I've never.
I tell you what, you need to come down and visit all the bugs in Australia because there's lots and lots of bugs down here.
Oh my gosh.
Now, we're going to be talking to you today about karate and a whole lot of other things. And I'm really fascinated because I've done a lot of reading about you. And you are quite an amazing young lady. And you're doing some really, really exciting stuff as well away from the karate platform. But we'll talk about that a little bit more later on. Let's start off with karate. How old were you when you first started getting into karate?
I was 3 years old when I first started karate, and I'm 12 right now.
Wow. So you've already been doing karate for 9 years.
Yeah, I have.
You're a veteran.
I'm a veteran.
You're a veteran at the age of 12. That's incredible. So what made you start karate at the age of 3?
So I was a really active child, running all over the place, jumping, and I was very active. And my dad took me to my first karate lesson, and from there I fell in love with it.
What did you love about it in the beginning when you first started? What were some of the things? Was it just being around other kids?
So when I first started practicing karate, I was a very shy kid. I did not socialize a lot, and karate has taught me a lot about social interaction, and it was just being there with the kids. It was a little different at first, when you're 3 years old, it's a little different environment. But I have to say the best part about it was, learning new things. You're constantly learning new things in karate.
Yeah, and it's also under a discipline, isn't it? Like it's very disciplined. So it's teaching you those skills from a very young age as well. Do you find, even though you're 12 now, do you look back on those early days and think, well, it really taught you a lot of things around discipline?
Yes, I do. You never forget your roots and your past because that has shaped you into who you are. So I never forget those, and karate has taught me a lot of those things.
So what made your dad take you along to karate? Was he involved in karate in some way?
Yes, my dad did karate when he was younger, and he wanted to pass it on. So he passed it on to me.
And have you done any other sports besides karate in the meantime, between 3 and 12?
When I was like 3 or 4, I might have did a year of like t-ball, but I quit after that, and I just stayed with karate.
And when you started karate, was there many other girls doing the sport of karate? Was there many girls in your initial group?
Not really. There was only 3 other girls, and it was about a class of around 12 to 13 of us, and the rest of them were just boys. So there wasn't a lot of girls.
And what about now? Is there more girls in the groups today?
Yeah, there definitely is a lot. Not as a drastic amount. There's still like a little bit of a 70-30, I'd have to say. That's a percentage or a little balance of it. But it's going up gradually.
Well, that's terrific to see, isn't it? Because, we live in a time where, equality is important, and we want to make sure that girls are getting access to the sport of karate as much as boys do. Is it a sport that's equal opportunity when it comes to girls participating with guys in karate?
Yeah, it is. But, there's been a lot of political things going in the karate world, and like I practice karate, and I want to put a lot of emphasis on youth karate athletes and kata athletes because they don't get the recognition that they deserve, and there's not, like, as you say, a spotlight being put on them in the karate world.
Well, that's one of the reasons I wanted to have you on our show here at the Global Sports Channel, because I wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about your wonderful sport and to get it out to our global network. In fact, our show's going to over 103 countries around the world today. So there's probably going to be plenty of young children in those countries that are going to be inspired by you, and karate is going to become very, very popular after the show today.
I hope so.
How do you feel about that?
Yeah, that's amazing, honestly.
You've quickly become a global ambassador for the sport of karate.
Yes, I have. My platform has grown tremendously over the past year and a half now.
Let's talk about your platform shortly, but before that, I did call you a veteran before, and I wasn't being rude when I was saying that. But when I read that you've competed in over 100 competitions, both domestically in the United States and internationally, I thought, wow, there's a lot of sports people that don't even do 100 competitions in their entire career, and you've done it before you've been 12 years old. How have you managed to do so many competitions?
So I started competing when I was around 6 years old. So it was 6 years to travel, around internationally or regionally and nationally. So I went to a lot of competitions, and I fell in love with competing. It's completely different than just training in the dojo or karate school.
Yeah. Do you remember your first major competition that you went into?
Yes, I do. So my first major competition was 2016 national championships, and I was 6 or 7 around the time.
And where was that held?
This was held in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Okay, so you didn't have too far to travel for that one, did you?
Not really. It wasn't that far.
And what were some of the memories that you brought away from that first competition?
So that competition was a whole learning experience, and I was 7 years old and at a national championship, and I placed second.
Wow.
And that's pretty huge when you're 7 years old and you see all of these athletes, and just being there at 7 years old, you see all these athletes around you competing and warming up, and you just want to be with them. And it feels so cool to be in their environment.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Were you nervous when you did that first competition?
I wasn't really nervous. I maybe a little bit nervous, because being such a young age at a national championship, I was a little nervous.
I bet you it inspired you though, because I bet after you came second, you probably said to yourself, right, I want to win the next one. Was that right?
Yeah, that's a lot of motivation.
So where was the next competition after that one?
It was in Puerto Rico.
Oh, okay. So you went international.
Yes, it was Puerto Rico, and I placed first place in weapons, first place in kata or forms, and I placed second place in kumite or fighting.
Okay, brilliant. Now, there's a lot of people listening to the show and watching the show today who are probably not familiar with the sport of karate, including myself. So I'm getting a good lesson from you today as well. So why don't you just explain the different disciplines that you talked about there and what they actually mean?
Karate teaches you a lot of things, and learning from a young age, like I did, 3 years old, it teaches you such great things that you can use later on, including integrity, being able to, tell the truth and doing stuff. And this works into my life. You're training, right? And you don't do it for anybody else, but you have to train for yourself. And it teaches you honesty, discipline, a lot of hard work. you know like you can achieve anything, but you cannot get it with and achieve that goal without hard work and discipline and dedication.
Absolutely. You talk about weaponry. Can you explain to us what kind of weapons you use when you're doing karate?
So I haven't done weapons since I was 7 or 8, but I used to do bow staff.
Right.
So when I was younger, I was obsessed with seeing all these ninja shows and seeing all these ninjas and just seeing them with the bow staff. And I saw a lot of upper teammates and a lot of advanced, karate athletes that were using weapons in the dojo or karate school.
Yep.
And it was like, just when you're younger, you see these things and they're just so like, you're drawn to them. So I was taught weapons, a bow. Mm-hmm. And it's like a long stick, and I was really short, so the bow staff was on like really tall. So when you're a kid like here,
yeah,
and you have something that's like here,
yeah,
you have to like use it around your body. It's not the easiest thing.
So are you actually hitting your opponent with the stick?
No, you're not hitting with the stick. It's a form and showing like how you would use these techniques in real life.
Okay.
With that, if you use it with an opponent, you're obviously going to get hurt.
I told you I don't know much about karate, so you're teaching me a lot of things. I would be picking up the broomstick out of the cupboard and attacking somebody with that. Is that something you practice with at home? Do you use the broomstick a lot?
I haven't competed in weapons or done weapons since I was 7 or 8, as I said. But I remember one competition when I was in Florida. We forgot my bow staff, and I had to use. We were at my grandparents' house, and I had to use the end of my grandma's broom. So when I was practicing the night before, I had to use the broomstick, and it was like really huge, and I was like really short, and just using that, it was hilarious. But I just adapted.
I tell you what you should do. Next time you go to a weapon competition, take a broomstick with you and see what everybody else looks like on their face. That'd be really hilarious, right? You could post some photos on your Instagram with you holding a broomstick in competition. That'd be really cool.
That'd be so... Everybody would say stuff about that.
Okay, let's get back to Puerto Rico. So how was that first international competition experience for you? What did you go through there? Was it easy? You obviously did very well, so you must have felt very comfortable.
So I had a lot of practice before this tournament, and I obviously didn't go into it knowing nothing. And I just learned a lot of it, and I used all of these things that I learned, and I just targeted it and a lot of motivation into these stuff. And I would use to listen to music before these competitions, and this would help me focus and like a little bit motivation, and it was a little nerve-wracking because competing in a huge international tournament when you're 7 or 8 years old, it's a little scary.
Yeah, I
I'm
bet it
gonna
is.
admit that. I'm not nervous or scared now when I go to competitions, but it's normal for when you're 7 or 8 years old to be scared at a competition like that. And it was a really huge learning experience. And the tournament, I remember this, it started at around 7 in the morning and it ended at 11:12 p.m.
Wow, that's a long
So
day for a young kid.
yeah, it was a full day.
I bet. So tell me more about the competition itself. What kind of how many fights did you actually have to participate in?
So I remember for weapons, I got first place and I went for grand championships. And grand championships at that tournament was from the youngest age until the oldest age. So all ages are competing against each other. And for this tournament, for the grand champions especially, you had to perform your forms. And for the weapons, I had to perform it once in front of the whole ring, and it was just one ring at the time for grand championships. So there's all the people in the stadium and they're just watching down at you. There's
Wow.
a lot of people there, and they're just in the stadium watching you, just one person for the grand champion and doing it at a time. And it was just not competing against my age too, it was competing against people who are older and younger.
I was going to ask about that actually. So what is the age range? Do they start obviously as young as 4 or 5, going right up to how old? What's the oldest competitor there?
At that tournament, I'm not sure who was the oldest competitor, but now the ages it's different because that's when I did more of open. And the open, it's more of like it sounds bad to say this, but flips and tricks, like from a movie, and it's like
Yeah,
like
yeah.
how it's done in a movie way. But now I do traditional. I transferred a long time to traditional karate when I was around 8 years old, 7, 8, almost 8 years old. Um, and now the age divisions are different. So if you're to go to a national competition or team trials, the ages are 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and then 18 to 34.
Oh, 18 to 34. So once you get to 18, you kind of go into the more senior ranks. Is that right?
Yes, that's the seniors.
Yeah, I don't want to call a 34-year-old a senior though, but I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Now, you're always competing against the same sex, is that right? You're always competing against other girls, or do you actually compete against guys sometimes as well?
Yes, I do compete against girls, but when I was younger, it was more of open, girls and boys against each other.
Yeah, right. So how many competitors were at the event in Puerto Rico? Was there hundreds of competitors there?
In my division, there was 66 of them.
Wow, that's a
66
lot from all over the world.
from all over the world. It was an invitational though, so it was more of a limited, but not really limited. It was, like dojos or karate schools were invited, and they had to pick their students to go. And I was chosen. I was very lucky to be chosen.
Yeah, that's cool. Very, very cool. So how was it meeting all these people from around the world? Did you make some good friends?
Yes, I did make some great friends. And I met a lot of cool people, and it was a great experience. I would love to go to Puerto Rico another time.
Did you meet anyone from New Zealand?
Um, I don't think I did, but I remember meeting a competitor from Australia. I don't remember his name, but I do remember he won the weapons, and he was from Australia.
Okay, well, I'm a New Zealander, and I tell you what, when you meet a New Zealand karate person, you're going to be very impressed because they're going to be very, very nice people.
Yeah, that's gonna be on my bucket list. Just like until I check it off that I meet a karate athlete from New Zealand.
Fantastic. Well, I'd like to officially invite you on behalf of the New Zealand nation to come to New Zealand and participate in our karate championships. I don't even know if we have one, but I'm sure we do. And bring your broomstick. Yeah, you bring your broomstick to New Zealand. That'd be exciting.
Yes, I'll definitely bring my broomstick there. Thank you.
So you've been doing this for a long time now, Sierra. So what's the goal with your karate? Do you have a goal? Like, do you want to go to the Olympic Games? Is that something you've got to set yourself as a goal?
So after the Olympics this year, they actually are not going to have karate into the Olympics, but
Hmm.
my goal is to represent the United States at Pan American Championships and this
Okay,
year.
this year. Okay, and where are they taking place at?
Um, it's not really a confirmed places yet, but there is confirmed on Youth Worlds, and that's in Italy in
Okay,
December.
okay. So
And
I'm just going to correct myself because am I getting it mixed up with the Olympics that judo is in the Olympics and karate is not in the Olympics? Is that right?
yeah, they're two different sports.
Yeah, of course. So has karate ever been in the Olympics?
Yeah, it's not in the past, but this year has.
Oh, this year it has been. Okay.
Yes.
So Pan American is your goal, and what do you need to do to get there? Do you have to qualify through some competition process?
Yes. So at USA Nationals, that's the team trials too. It's going to be in September, and the first place winner goes to Pan American Championships, all expenses paid for.
Oh, so you're gunning for first place then?
Yes.
I've had a look at your website, and there's a lot of gold medals listed on your website of things that you've achieved in the past. So, are you pretty confident that you're going to be able to win that qualification to go to the Pan competition?
I'm not gonna say something like that I'm gonna win and make it sound really bad. But I'm working really hard right now, and actually tonight, we're leaving to Dominican Republic to train with my sensei.
Oh,
So,
fantastic. So you're getting in some extra work before that competition. So what does a typical training day look like? What do you actually do? Do you do a lot of things outside of the karate environment as well, like running and gym work and that sort of stuff?
so now that I'm not in school, my schedule has actually changed like dramatically and huge. But I do love swimming and riding my bike.
Hmm.
So in the morning, I get up, I have my first training and physical conditioning. So like just it's nothing karate, but just physical conditioning. I do a little bit running
Hmm.
and rowing, and I have some lunch after that, and then I have my second, more of my first karate training, but it's my second training of the day, and this is Kihon, or technical parts, and this is just working on certain techniques or anything that I'm assigned that I have to work on, and then after that, well, it changes each day, but I have training with my sensei in Dominican Republic, Sensei Maria Dimitrova.
Okay. So it's really like a full-time job.
Yeah, full-time job.
And how many days a week are you training at the moment?
So at the right now, because there's nationals, I'm training 7 days, but before I was training 6 days.
Right, okay. Wow, that's pretty intense. And do you get many injuries?
Um, I don't actually get injuries because you have to warm up your body a lot, and maybe I might have stubbed my toe a few times when I was like 4 or 5 starting karate, but I don't get injured.
Wow, you're very lucky then. Keep that streak going as long as you can.
Yeah.
Now, you remember before we started the show today, I said to you I'm going to ask you some questions that you've never been asked before.
Yes.
Okay, here's the first one. Okay.
Okay.
What's your favorite snack food when you're traveling?
Oh, I've never got this one before.
Oh, you have had this one before.
No, I've never gotten it before.
Ah, good.
I don't I don't really have a favorite snack. Maybe strawberries or pomegranates. I love pomegranates. So
Pomegranates. You know what? When I ask a lot of other people this question, pomegranates is always a favorite answer of many people.
really?
Yeah.
That's
So
weird.
you're amongst good friends there. So pomegranates when you travel. That's good. And do you take them with you or do you buy them wherever you are?
Yeah, I just buy them wherever I am, or any fruits really.
Yeah. Okay. So back to karate now. So what happens? What's been happening in New York since COVID-19 and with your karate? Has everything been closed down? How's that process been for you?
So before COVID-19, obviously the schools shut down and I had to be virtual. But before COVID-19, I had to go to training in Long Island, and we are 2 hours away from Long Island.
Right.
So I had to travel after school, like after the bus, get off the bus and go straight, take a quick like lunch, and then drive 2 hours away to Long Island, and come back at night after training at around 11 or 12,
Wow.
and to do homework. But the dojo has closed, and I stopped fighting. So now I do kata, and my sensei is in Dominican Republic, and we train through Zoom.
Okay, so a lot of things have moved online for you. Do you find that easier or more difficult? How do you find it?
There's pros and cons of doing virtual. I mean, it's still you're still training, and it's still really it has benefits that you're training, and at least you're not like sitting on the couch, eating some chips.
Yeah.
But it's just different. You're not training in real life with somebody, and being there in front of a screen the whole day, or the whole training. But that's pretty much it. I mean, it's still good training online.
I guess when you get upset with your coach, you can just close the Zoom call and say, "Oh, sorry, coach, we got cut off."
I've never done that. I've never done that.
You can hold that trick up your sleeve as well. Yeah, that's another thing. So I'm encouraging you to use the broomstick, and you can cut off your coach on the Zoom calls whenever you want.
Oh my god.
Not a very positive impact, am I? Okay, so how's the situation in New York now with COVID and back to normality and training? Are you back to doing the things that you were doing before COVID?
Actually, this year I'm going back to school.
Hmm.
But last year the COVID, it was a lot in our school district and this area especially.
Yep.
But I'd say people are getting vaccinated, using their masks, social distance, and the COVID cases are doing good right now.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
I'm not like they're good, like increasing, but
Have you been vaccinated?
yes, I'm fully vaccinated.
Okay. And how did you have any repercussions from being vaccinated? Like, did you feel sick for a couple of days or anything like that?
Yeah, for maybe a couple of days, my arm was sore. I feel a little headache, but after that, I'm healthy as a horse.
So you weren't chopping anyone with your arm during those days, yeah?
I still had training. I had to like a little easy on the arm, but I still had training.
Okay. Now, as a karate person, are you sitting down watching a lot of Bruce Lee films?
I've actually never watched Bruce Lee.
You've never watched a Bruce Lee film?
Maybe I've watched one when I was younger, but I have not watched Bruce Lee.
Okay, that's probably a good thing actually, because there's a lot of violence in those things.
I've probably watched Bruce Lee when I was younger, but I have not watched it.
So
Like in
now
the
that
past.
so now that you're 12, ripe old age of 12, and you've done all those years of training and competition, what would you say are some of the most important things you've learnt from the sport of karate?
So karate does teach me a lot of things, and as I said earlier, I was a very shy kid.
Hmm.
Um, I would not go up to athletes and talk to them, and now I go up to athletes, and some of the bigger athletes, is, for instance, at USA Nationals, there are some big athletes there, and you know, I went up to them, and you can talk to them, and I'm just saying, if I was myself when I was younger, I would have not done that.
So it's given you a lot of confidence and self-belief.
Yes, it definitely has.
What has it taught you about the world? Has it taught you any lessons about the world?
Yes, it has. It's taught me one. I mean, the obvious thing is how to defend myself. In any situation. But it's taught me a lot of things. It's taught me to be calm, but also you can be fierce. And karate just teaches you a lot of things. And being open-minded, you learn all the time. You can learn things from karate,
Yeah,
and that's
fantastic.
one of my favorite things from it.
I bet you your friends don't pick on you. Is that right?
Yeah, they don't.
I tell you what, you wait until later on, and all those boyfriends you're going to have, they're going to be very scared of you.
I don't do anything with boys, so.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Now let's talk about life away from karate, because I was very inspired by you in terms of some of the things that you've been doing, particularly during this COVID-19 times. Can you tell our audience around the world today what you did to help other people during COVID-19?
So I started Just Imagine 2020, and I started Just Imagine 2020 last year. And one of my fellow competitors, her dad passed away, and this made me think and realize how much the karate community was suffering. People were losing their jobs, their dojos, or karate schools, and they weren't able to train. And a lot of students or a lot of karate athletes were leaving karate, and this was huge. So I wanted to help other karate athletes, and I wanted to make a difference in the karate world. So using my own birthday and Christmas money, I reached out to one of my favorite brands in Japan, Mr. Hirota. I emailed Mr. Hirota and I informed him on what I wanted to do. And I asked for a discount, and his gis are top of the line, gis or karate uniforms.
Mm-hmm.
And I was very fortunate to have one free custom made Hirota gi. And these things go for about $400 to $500. So
Wow.
very lucky for that. And I did reach out to a lot of top martial arts brands, and I did the same thing, whether it be an email or a phone call. And I informed them what I wanted to do and what I was achieving doing this.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just looking for discounts. And I was very fortunate to have some discounts and have some free karate equipment. So I had one free karate seminar after that, and in total I've had 3 sold out karate seminars, and I hire world champions to help teach and educate youth karate athletes for free. So there's a lot of going on in the world, and karate is just a way that helps me, and I want to spread it and spread kindness and joy through this time. So I had my first seminar, and it was taught by 2 world champions. And what I did from that was, it's free, obviously. So, but over this event, I received over 975,000 hits.
Wow.
Just Imagine 2020.
Wow.
And I was very, very shocked about this. It was a good idea that I had, but I didn't know how the karate community would react to it, whether they like it or dislike it.
There must have been a lot more people than just the karate community, though, that got behind that, with that so many hits. Is that right?
Yes, it was other sports too, but mainly it was youth karate athletes.
Yeah, that's brilliant. And are you still doing this now?
Yes. Oh, hold on. It's very glitchy right now. Hold on.
Okay.
So as I said before, I have done 3 sold out karate seminars, and I have another one planned for November, with 2 more world champions. And a month prior to these events, I hype it up, make posters in English, Hindi, and Spanish, and I translate it for that. And I post it all over my social medias and my website.
Fantastic. Well, I'll tell you what, you send me the links for that and we'll put it in the show notes of the show today to help you promote your next one. We've got a big following in India as well, so I'm sure if you give us the links to Hindi, we can also get as many Indian people involved as possible.
All right, great. Thank you.
You're welcome. That's very good. And another thing I'm going to ask you to do is, when you've competed in the Pan American Championships, which I know that you're going to be successful in, I'd like you to come back on the show and talk to us about that experience as well.
Oh no, I would love to. This is amazing right now what you're doing.
That's good. Now tell us about moving forward. What do you want to achieve with your karate over the next, say, 10 years of your life?
So, of course, I want to represent the United States at World Championships. And right now, I want to represent the United States at Pan American Championship, as I said, and Youth Worlds and Premier Leagues.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a mini Olympics. Not really going to say it's a mini Olympics, but, it's a tournament around the world and the best of the best.
Yep.
So that's my goal, to represent the United States at these tournaments.
Okay, fantastic. And do you have many sponsors and supporters on board at the moment?
Yeah, so recently I filmed an infomercial with GoDaddy, and that's how I made my website with them.
Ah, brilliant. Okay, so GoDaddy's on board as a sponsor. Have you got any others that we can give a shout out to today?
I'm working right now with Hilton.
Hilton Hotels. Okay, fantastic.
Hilton and New Balance.
And New Balance as well. Wow, you've got some pretty good sponsors on board then.
Yes, I'm very fortunate.
Well, we'll give a shout out to GoDaddy, Hilton and New Balance, because it's good to see those brands supporting young people like you, Sarah, who have dream to compete at the highest level in world sport, and I'm sure that you're going to be successful in doing that. Now, I'm going to put you on the spot because there's a lot of young people that are watching our show right now, and they might have a dream to compete at the highest level in their particular sport. What piece of advice would you pass on to them right now?
So, anything and everything is possible. You have to be motivated and have the dedication and the hard work, because without the hard work, you cannot achieve these goals. And, it can be any little goal or big goal. If you want to do something, put your mind to it and you can achieve it. If you can see it, you can do it. If you believe in it, you can achieve it.
Fantastic. And I also read that you're pretty busy at school studying science. Is that right? You like science?
Yes. So when I was younger, I actually wanted to be an astrophysicist, but recently I've wanted to be a neurologist.
Why did you change from astrophysicist to neurologist?
So over time, just studying the same thing over and over again. I mean, not karate. I'm nothing about karate. Karate is always something that will be in my heart forever. But just studying the same thing, I got a little bored of it, and my brother inspired me to, try and be a neurologist, because I want to help people just like my brother.
Right. Okay. You don't want to get on a rocket ship and go into space anymore.
No, I wanted to stay on the Earth and study the stars. I have a fear, actually, of if you're in the space and I don't know, if the spaceship just blows up or something.
You wouldn't like that. That wouldn't be a good thing, would it? No.
No, that's kind of scary to me.
So if you weren't doing karate, what other sport would you love to be doing, do you think?
When I was younger, I've always wanted to do ballet or dance. I'd probably be doing dance.
Dance. Well,
yeah.
My third tip for the day, because I've given you 2 tips already, my third tip for the day would be, why don't you incorporate a bit of dance and ballet in your karate moves?
Oh my gosh.
I can see you dancing across the floor as you're doing your weapon routine. Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
With the broomstick.
With the broomstick, yes.
With the broomstick.
That'd be a world first, and I bet you'll get 1 million views on Instagram.
Yeah.
Well, Sarah, listen, it's been fantastic talking to you today. We've come to the end of our time together, but before I let you go today, I'm going to get in contact with the New Zealand Prime Minister and make sure you get invited to go to New Zealand to compete in some karate competition down under, because I want you to see our beautiful country and meet our amazing people in the country of New Zealand.
Thank you so much.
That'd be good, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I've always wanted to go to New Zealand.
And I tell you what, you've got to come back on the show after you've been to the Pan American Championships, because we'd love to have a chat to you again and see how you did in the competition there and tell all the world about all the experience you had when you went to the Pan American Championships.
All right, will do.
Thanks very much. Great to meet you, and we'll see you again soon.
Thank you.
There we are. Wonderful. Sarah. And Sierra's off to the Dominican Republic, in fact, in a couple of hours' time, to go off there with her father to compete in another karate competition. I hope you enjoyed that show. What a lovely young lady, and obviously doing very, very good things in the world as well by helping a lot of other people out during these difficult times in COVID. If you're stuck in lockdown restrictions or anything else around the world and you've got some spare time, head on over to the Global Sports Channel and check us out. We've got lots of amazing videos there of past professional athletes, Olympic champions, world record holders, but also the younger generation, the inspiration that's coming around next time. And maybe a lot of those stars that we've already interviewed are going to be the superstars of world sport in the future. There's a couple who are actually taken off to Tokyo that we're wishing all the very best as well. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, hit the little bell notification, and you will be rewarded by being notified every time that we drop a video. And head on over to our social media. We'd love to hear from you on Facebook, Twitter or Instagram, and give us your views on the comments section of those pages about the content that we're putting online here at the Global Sports Channel. My name's Mark Philpott. I'm going to be back again with you very soon with another episode from the Global Sports Channel. Until then, I wish you all a very happy, safe and prosperous week ahead. Bye for now.